wanted to know what you're doing in this program, just a continuation of your last session. So first of all, we should not write a delegate before the using. No. See my last recording. We should not write a delegate before the using. These are basically interview questions where you will write a delegate. Should be after the using and before the class. And if I don't do, sir, if you don't do, look at the error. Remove it, save it. Now come back. Look at the error. So it's again interview questions where you will write a delegate before the class. Where before the even though before using? No. After using and before class. Remove from there and just keep in between. Delegate can be declared at two places, just before the class, after the using, or within the class. So why delegate within the class? Wait for next session. But someone asks you where you can declare the delegate just after using or before the class. So please run the program, compile the program first. I want to see. Okay, I'm showing you. My error is gone. Thank you, sir. Sometimes we forget. So before the class, not before the using. After the using and before the class. Okay. And second method, during the class. Within the class. Why within the class? Wait, I will discuss. Now, first of all, what I'm doing right now here, that's most important. I said, you give me new thread. So at this point, I'm generating a new thread. Okay, sir, please, I want every line to be discussed by you. So one is, at this point, I'm generating a new thread. And what's the main? Main is also having a thread, suppose T0. Both threads in same processor, in single processor. Okay. Second point. Now, what is end invoke, Sandeep sir? Begin invoke means you started the thread, and end invoke, when this function will execute, then you will be reaching at this line. Okay. So main begin invoke will generating a new thread plus executing the function is called SOBJ, is pointing to the employee data. So overall SOBJ is having the function signature is called employee data, and running that function by this separate thread is called T1. So now this function is running in a background. This thread is running in a background to perform this task is called employee data. The thread has gone to execute this function in a background. The main thread is free. So what I am doing during this end invoke, during the 6 second, what I'm sitting idle, why I'm sitting idle, basically, I can call other function. Okay, so begin invoke and end invoke. Within this, I'm going to execute this function. And Sandeep, if I go for remove this line from here, and if I keep at this point, then you are executing your function after 6 seconds. So then there is no benefit of calling this function over separate thread is called employee data. Okay, you mean to say context switching or whatever you are saying, a synchronous call will be happen when you want to go for running any other function during this time frame. Yes, during this time frame, within 6 seconds only. So within 6 seconds, while you're sitting idle, while main thread is sitting idle, you can execute that function. Okay, I got your point. So, and if we remove this, I just told you, if you remove this, and if you cut it here and paste here, then it's a synchronous programming because this will execute after 6 seconds. So what is end invoke function, sir? End invoke function will terminate the thread when the function gets executed completely after 6 seconds. And what output comes You can assign to any variable, assign to any variable. So what is the return type of EndInvoke function? What is the return type of EndInvoke function? The return type of the EndInvoke function depends on the function return type. Okay, okay. So now I'm calling the employee data function returning as integer. So now, so EndInvoke function returns as an integer. Suppose if this function returns as a string, then EndInvoke function returns as a string. Okay, I got your point. It means the return type of function, the return type of the function will be the return type of the EndInvoke function. Okay. So finally, what I'm trying to convince this line, so this statement will not execute after 6 seconds because begin invoke is having the function signature is called SOBJ, and new thread running in a background is to perform the task. You're free for next 6 seconds. While you're waiting, better you can go for running your other functions during this end invoke. This is called end invoke pattern. Limitation, sorry, wait for next session when I start the polling pattern. So in case of polling pattern, I can discuss the limitation of end invoke pattern, but at least you enjoy, you're getting a asynchronous behavior because this function will not wait for next 6 seconds. Okay. So now show the output. You mean to say, yes, the output will be Noida. Then after 6 seconds, you will be output called Akash. Yes, sir. So, and what about these two null as a parameter? So first parameter or second parameter concerned to, if you want to go for callback, we have separate delegate. The second parameter, so can you repeat again? If you want to go for callback, so what is callback? So I have told you there are 4 ways you can go for a synchronous call. One by the end invoke, second pulling pattern, not polling, pulling pattern, third wait handle pattern, and fourth your callback. So wait, you go systematic is better. Don't find today's the limitation of your begin invoke or end invoke. Enjoy the end invoke. So I'm watching. This line will not basically wait for 6 seconds. It's better if you want to go for asynchronous behavior. Inject your code within this time frame only, then you can have the behavior of asynchronous, but it's actually context switching. So now it's so easy. I can convert this program in TPL based or into TPL based. Wait 1 or 2 classes more. I will go for converting the same program into TPL. But if you learn directly TPL, you never know what about the limitation with the delegate, what was the basically problem with the asynchronous call using by delegate. As simply jumping into TPL, you never know what is TPL. You know in the syntax, right? Task, everyone does same thing. Just writes a task and getting and executing the program. But if they don't know what the limitation of delegate for calling the asynchronous call. Anyway, run this program. So I'm requesting you, when you go for taking the class of TPL, I'm requesting you take a same program. I promise you, I will take a same program. I will converting into TPL. Okay, it's good. Otherwise, don't go for changing example every time. Now, look at, I just told you, end invoke function will return depends on what depends the what function returning is called your employee data. Returning as a string, so hold into a string. So where space I. I'm assigning the function output of end invoke in I variable. Then console. Earlier, I was getting the output Akash, then Noida. Now I will be getting output in this example. First Noida, then Akash. So do one thing, yes. So So now save this program and compile, run the program, EMPCS. Look at, I'm getting Noida, then I'm getting Akash. Okay, okay, correct. So any limitation, please? No, no, no. Don't discuss today the limitation of your end invoke pattern. Wait for next session called pooling pattern. Then I will discussing there why you want to migrating or moving from the end invoke pattern to your pooling pattern. But enjoy today. At least you got an idea. You got an idea about the asynchronous call. But one thing is very important for today's class is you will be getting an effect of this program when you write this, when you inject any function or calling any function during this time frame is called begin invoke or end invoke. And if you remove this line, this statement, and you go here, then there is no difference between the program without delegate and program with delegate. Okay, okay. Look at your waiting.